This video poses the question of who is the responsible party or parties to the heightened risk of induced seismicity at Preston New Road. The relevant issue is not the traffic light system. The traffic light system limits on seismicity is basically irrelevant. What is relevant is the injection pressures should not exceed overburden pressure. Cadrilla in 2018 had injection bottom hole pressures greater than 800 bar when the overburden pressure is 530 bar. This is considered completely reckless, lifting the overburden, allowing the frac fluids to migrate kilometers to a critically stressed fault. GeoSierra conducted a review of the Priest Hall well stimulations in 2016, and this review was posted on their website in March 2017 after Halliburton and GeoSierra didn't want to pursue UK onshore shale plays. The Boland Hodder shales contain numerous slick-and-side bedding planes throughout their formations. These slick-and-sided bedding planes are smooth, highly polished, and have extremely low coefficient of friction. The conclusions from this review is there were extensive slick-and-sided bedding planes throughout the formations. These bedding planes mitigated the height growth of the induced hydraulic fractures. Therefore, bottom hole pressures had to be limited to avoid opening these near horizontal bedding planes and providing a high permeable conduit for slick frac fluids to migrate along. The Boland Hodder shales can't be commercially enhanced by current hydraulic fracturing technology due to the presence of these slick-and-sided bedding planes. An induced hydraulic fracture will propagate both horizontally and vertically until it intersects with a slick-and-sided bedding plane. There it will stop. Its height migration is contained by this plane. The tip will blunt and the injection should be stopped at that stage. If the injections are continued, bottom hole pressures will rise and rise sufficiently and exceed overburden pressure, opening the bedding planes, providing a high permeable fluid conduit for the slick frac fluids to migrate, thus heightening the risk of induced seismicity. These concerns were raised to the Oil and Gas Authority, namely that the slick-and-sided bedding planes will inhibit vertical height growth of induced hydraulic fractures, leading to high bottom hole pressures if injection continues exceeding overburden pressure, opening these hypersensitive bedding planes and providing a conduit for migration of frac fluids considerable distances from the well. To avoid this heightened risk of induced seismicity, bottom hole pressure and tilt meter monitoring must be installed and provided limits on so that the overburden is not lifted, creating this heightened risk. The OGA was contacted numerous times in 2018 by email and telephone calls to implement the remedies required to stop the overburden being lifted during hydraulic fracturing operations at Preston New Road. No action was taken by the OGA. The agencies have been contacted again numerous times in 2019 with the same concerns, and there has been no response. Cadrilla was also contacted and notified of these concerns prior to any hydraulic fracturing operations in 2019. In 2018, Cadrilla, with OGA approval, injected fluids into the subsurface at bottom hole pressures exceeding 800 bar, when the overburden pressure was only 530 bar. actions that are considered completely reckless and irresponsible. Now let's recap. A vertical hydraulic fracture is created. It grows and intersects a slick-inside bedding plane. Bottom hole pressures rise above overburden, open the slick-inside bedding plane, which is a highly permeable conduit for the frac fluids to migrate kilometers from the injection point. These frac fluids have migrated 800 meters up dip from the injection point, maximizing the likelihood of induced seismicity. So who is responsible for this heightened risk of induced seismicity at Preston New Road that could have been easily remedied by bottom hole pressure and tilt meter monitoring? Is it solely Cadrilla, or due to lack of action is the responsibility of the Oil and Gas Authority and Cadrilla? Thank you for your time.